Hi, everybody. So my name's Tatum, and I am a doTERRA wellness advocate. I've been with doTERRA for a little over 3 years. I've just celebrated yet another anniversary with them. And the reason why I decided to get into natural alternatives is simply due to being able to be dependable on something immediately versus outside dependability. That's not to say that I don't source outside dependability, meaning modern day Western medicine. There is a need for it for certain things, but when the time comes for that, for right now, I prefer natural alternatives that work with my body that I can utilize right then and there if something comes up, or preemptively utilize my oils to ensure nothing does come up. And I just enjoy the empowerment with that and the ability to utilize it for less than pennies on a dollar for each drop. So it's extremely cost effective. And I prefer to have natural alternatives versus synthetics. So that's a brief testimony. I didn't really go into any story that got me on that because that's way too long and I have way too many and I only have a little bit of time. So today I wanted to come to you guys and talk about essential oils that you can integrate for the realm of pregnancy, birth, and babies. So briefly, before I start, I will have to say my normal disclaimer. I am not a doctor, and the FDA has not reviewed nor approved these statements. I'm not here to treat, cure, or prevent anything. I'm simply bringing empowerment and options to you that are natural solutions for overall health and well-being. So aside from that wonderful disclaimer that I always have to say, we can go ahead and kick this off. So the first thing we're going to do before I get in depth about the topic is I'm going to go briefly over the what essential oils are, so that you, in case you don't know, then you can follow along and understand what I'm going to talk about. So come on this journey with me. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what exactly I'm talking about in regards to what an essential oil is. So let me get that. Okay. So here we are. So what is an essential oil? So an essential oil, this picture right here, is a highly magnified image of a peppermint leaf from the peppermint plant. And these little white sacs right here and back there are what is known as the essential oil. Now, the essential oil on a plant is nature's defense mechanism for its survival and its plant cells. So it's basically its defense. So it'll basically, for the plant, what it is it builds up certain defenses to ensure its longevity. So the essential oil can assist the plant with keeping fungus away, certain insects, mold growth, things like that. And so it can protect some of the longevity of the actual plant. So what we've done is we are taking that from the plant to utilize for our own body's defense mechanisms and overall functioning and support systems. So they are pure extracts from plants, so they can be derived from anything from the flower of the plant, the leaf, the root, the bark, the stem, the seed, many different aspects that can be utilized from any given plant. And they're highly concentrated, so just know that these are way more powerful than you can get in terms of dry herbs. So they're like 50 to 70 times more powerful. So just be careful. So for example, it gave 1 drop of the peppermint essential oil will make 28 cups of peppermint tea. So highly, highly, highly concentrated stuff. So most times you don't even need to use a full drop, which that full drop is usually like pennies on a dollar or even less than a penny, like a fraction of a penny. So it's pretty potent. And then, so why explore natural solutions versus synthetics? So I kind of touched on that when I gave my brief overview as to why I picked doTERRA, but basically, again, I'm not here to persuade anybody from utilizing that, the conventional Western medicine in that kind of way. There is a time and a place for it. However, most times than not, I prefer to have the empowerment of utilizing something right then and there that's within my reach within seconds, versus waiting on the phone on hold and then waiting for that meeting date and time to come around, things like that. So these can be utilized straight away, or at least to suffice until you're able to, if you need to get in to see your healthcare practitioner. So they address the essential oils, what they do is, since they work with your body and it is from plant, that they actually work with the body to address the root cause versus just masking the symptoms. So unfortunately, most synthetics that are on the market generally all synthetics that are on the market, actually do not address the root problem. They simply just cover up and mask the symptoms. So you're not actually getting full overall health and well-being or solution. You're simply staving off and masking the actual problem. So they're very affordable. Like I said, they are pennies per drop or less, like a fraction of a penny per drop. They're available at your house or in your car, your backpack, or wherever you're going. If you have them on you, they're available to you immediately, right then and there. You don't have to wait in line at the pharmacy. You don't have to wait at a drugstore. You don't have to wait, for that appointment with your healthcare practitioner. You can utilize something right then and there that's right there in front of you. And then, of course, with the natural solutions of essential oils, pure essential oils, meaning there are no side effects and there is no way that you can become addicted to it. So, for example, I have to say I am addicted to it, but in terms of addiction, in terms of, other drugs or things like that, your body actually fully becomes dependent on it and you become an addict, meaning you keep taking that same thing, and you might go into DTs or something if you don't. Essential oils isn't like that. I'm addicted just because I love them and I know they work, and it's so empowering to have them with you. So I'm addicted that way just because I love them, but I'm not addicted in terms of my body has not become dependent on those items in order to get through every day. So they are the purest things that you can find in the world today. So it goes down to this one, number 3. And so why doTERRA essential oils? Of course, I briefly again touched on why for me, but this right here shows you in the blue, we're going to talk about synthetic. Synthetic is things like most perfumes or colognes, things that will be perhaps in like your shampoos or your body care items. Those are synthetic and they're very harmful to you. So then there's the green, which is considered the food kind. Food grade would be something like your bubble gum or certain extracts like peppermint extract in the sense of using it in baking or cooking, things like that. And then there's the therapeutic grade on the market, which tend to sometimes be utilized by a lot of massage parlors or things like that, where people go and get full body massages and things like that. So those can only be utilized typically aromatically because they are not actually pure. But then this tiny little sliver of orange is a certified pure part, where this is where doTERRA is at. So this means you can utilize them not just aromatically, but internally and topically. So that attests, being able to use them all 3 ways, that attests to the true purity of doTERRA's essential oil. So plants are grown. doTERRA's essential oils come from plants that are grown and harvested in their native habitat. So, for example, peppermint. Our peppermint comes from Washington State. That's where it's indigenous. Our lavender comes from soon-to-be Bulgaria as well as France right now. And then things like frankincense. Frankincense comes from Oman and it's Somalia. Sorry, I kind of had a moment there. And so doTERRA sources these plants where they are native too. They're not trying to grow them in any place other than that. They source them from true farmers that have had that land for generations upon generations. So we work with them, and there's people on site all the time to ensure that these plants will grow to their truest purity level, and then they're harvested and distilled, things like that. And so that's why the CPTG right here, it establishes the standard of completely natural purity of the item. So each batch, to ensure the purity to be certified pure therapeutic grade, each batch of oil undergoes multiple third-party testing. There's like up to, I think, 11 tests right now that doTERRA does multiple times on each batch through the entire process, from the time that it's harvested and distilled to the time that it's actually brought over from wherever it's indigenous to again. So if it comes from France or if it comes from, Oman and things like that, then it's tested again multiple times, and then it's tested again right before when it's bottled. So multiple testings with that. So they are the purest essential oils that you can find on the market today, doTERRA is. So the last one, number 4, I'm going to talk about are the essential oils effectiveness. So this picture right here shows an example of a cell. So it's this purple thing. And I'm not sure you can see, maybe I can kind of blow it up a little bit. Hopefully you can actually see that. But this is an example of a cell that's in your body. And as we all know, viruses attack within the cell And then there's outside threats like a bacteria that attack the outside of the cell. Now, what this picture is it shows that the doTERRA essential oils, since they are pure, they can actually penetrate the cell membrane, the cell wall, to attack any threats that are within that cell, as well as obviously it's attacking outside the cell too. But it's going to hone in, you know, just like a sniper has his, you know, his scope set in and he hones in on outside threats, the essential oil is going to do that as well. So essential oils work at a cellular and molecular level that protects the cell and the body as a whole unit. And it supplies the functionality to ensure proper functioning of every aspect of your body. And then there's impurities and threats that reside inside as well as outside the cell, kind of what we talked about. There's internal threats as well as outside threats, so virus versus bacteria. And essential oils are nutrients that penetrate and diffuse into the cell membrane and fight against those threats that come into your body. So like I said, you can use them 3 ways: aromatically, topically, and internally. So with that said, I'm going to go over a couple areas, again, because specifically we're here to talk about the essential oils and how you can integrate them for pregnancy, birth, and babies. So I'm going to stop sharing, and unfortunately I don't have any of the new tear sheets just yet to show to you. I haven't gotten them just yet, and so apologies, I had to go and help my little one. I do work from home, so either way. So with that said, we're going to jump into the use of pregnancy, birth, and babies. And like I said, I don't have the compliant tear sheets just yet. We did just have our convention, so all of those are in the process of being made. So I don't want to show you guys anything that's out of compliance. So I'm just going to use some of the notes that I have here in front of me, and hopefully you can follow along, even though you don't have any visuals. You're just going to kind of hear me talk. So like I said, we already went over what essential oils are. So now we're going to talk about integrating them. And there's a couple resources that I am going to talk from that will assist you better to utilize them for pre-pregnancy, maybe even to be utilized for the husband to prepare the body for this wonderful adventure of motherhood and fatherhood. So one of the resources I'm going to talk about is the essential oils for maternity. This you can get from Aroma Tools. And this one that I have, again, is the 2nd edition. So the 3rd edition isn't out just yet, but once it does, I'm going to get it. So what this does is it's literally, it'll start from preparing the body. So there's ways that you can utilize essential oil options for him, the husband, ways to utilize essential oils for you as the soon-to-be mommy. And then there's like a chart that talks about basic essential oil guidelines and certain oils that you can use for certain things that might be bothering you, things like that. So there's things that you could utilize for if you have discomfort in your lower extremities, areas of that. If you're having difficulty breathing, so you're having respiratory discomfort, things like that. If you're having too much retention of particular fluids during your pregnancy, things like that. This is literally just a guide that will assist in every aspect of before you're even pregnant to when you're pregnant, and it goes by trimester. So options for 1st trimester, 2nd trimester, 3rd trimester, and then it even touches on laboring. So 1st stage of laboring, 2nd stage of laboring, and then of course delivery, things like that. So we're going to kind of touch on a few of those. But then I also, again, this one is my 2nd edition. So this one has a 3rd edition that I believe actually has just come out, but again, I don't have it yet. So, but this one is by Stephanie Fritz, and she is a midwife, a certified midwife. And so this was essential oils for pregnancy, birth, and babies. And this one really talks in depth about preparing your body. So certain minerals, vitamins, nutrients, omega oils, things like that, as well as overall lifestyle in terms of nutrition, things that you should address to prepare your body. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff out there that is extremely toxic, and especially our food industry is very questionable in terms of bringing about true nutritious food that your body truly needs versus them just making money. So, but again, then she talks about once you have become pregnant, how you then can go through that process, first trimester, second trimester, ideas, things you can utilize for certain areas that you are feeling discomforts or pains or things like that from. And then, of course, it talks about the transition into labor and delivery. And then, of course, what to use on baby right after baby comes out. And then it also touches on the emotional aspect in case you lose baby, or if you do have the baby, but you're then stricken with postpartum issues and symptoms that a lot of moms nowadays do have. And it's the ways that you can help with that. All right, another interruption, so I apologize. But so these two resources basically are ones that I would highly recommend that you get prior to even becoming pregnant. But if you've already become pregnant, then go ahead and get them. They have so much information in them that I tend to go to and look at all the time. And I've utilized a lot of their options that they've put in there. So I'm going to talk about specifically a couple of different oils regarding use for typically normal, I guess you could say, normal issues or, pains and things like that we all experience during each trimester, things like that. So typically once a woman becomes pregnant, sometimes we have that dreaded nausea and things like that, and even sometimes, vomiting. So most people tend to just kind of just grit their teeth and go through it. But there are a couple of options per the essential oil realm, meaning that you can utilize to assist you to get through that, or preemptively even be able to get you through that. So two of the main well-known ones are ginger and peppermint. Ginger and peppermint are two that are known. Let me get my ginger and peppermint right here. These are what the bottles look like. And ginger and peppermint, again, these ones can be used aromatically, topically, or internally. And these can be known to combat any issues with stomach discomfort, esophageal discomfort, things like that. Even promote in case you might have spells of trying to stay compliant, but where you're not feeling as though you're able to stand. If you're having certain spells, then you can utilize peppermint too. You can just pop it from the bottle, you can diffuse it, and you can put it on certain pulse points and just sniff it from there. And in the case of ginger and or peppermint, if you can take it, if you can stomach the flavor or the things like that, a peppermint, like I said, peppermint's they're all very concentrated. So one drop is like really all, well more than enough you need to take internally to soothe any kind of those discomforts, as well as tummy discomforts. You can calm those. So ginger, actually, I prefer to use first and foremost. It does have that warming effect to it, but for the most part, this costs less than a fraction of a penny per drop. And so I typically utilize this first for any kind of issues with nausea or stomach discomfort. But sometimes if that doesn't kick it, then I will go ahead and use peppermint. And you can get peppermint in little beadlet form, which is 1/4 of a drop of peppermint. And then you can just take that internally. But again, utilizing it aromatically, you can diffuse it, you can put it on pulse points. That will assist greatly with any feelings of nausea and or dealing with type of vomiting and things like that. You can rub it on your tummy. You can apply it topically with dilution, like a carrier oil. The use of a carrier oil is obviously in case you might have skin sensitivities, or it actually assists with absorption and penetration. So it'll stay on that area longer, and it'll take longer to absorb and penetrate into the various layers of your skin versus being utilized straight away. So it's more of a systemic effect if you use it with a carrier oil, and it's super good to know. Sometimes, of course, then if we are pregnant, we sometimes are a little sore in the upper regions with our women. So you can utilize something like lavender. Let me get my lavender. Lavender is a very soothing and calming oil, and that you can apply topically again to certain areas. Again, you can massage it utilizing carrier oil around the tissue of the breast. And again, you could utilize that even after you've had the baby, in case of, you're learning how to do that nursing thing and the baby might not have that proper match just yet. We have all been there. So you could utilize that again, not on the actual nipple or areola, but utilize it around that area, so around the tissue. And if this doesn't actually work, again, start small. Use a few, 1 or 2 drops more often than a lot at once. So I wouldn't use more than 1 or 2 drops given any application. You can utilize this constantly, like, every 20 minutes, or, you can't overdo it again. You can't overdose. Moving right along. So then also sometimes when you get pregnant, you might be a little off in regards to any kind of bowel movements, things like that. So what you can utilize for that is a couple ones. There is one blend that's known as Digestin, and that's obviously known as our digestive blend. So peppermint's in this one. So again, peppermint has a lot of other uses aside from just dealing with nausea or vomiting or stomach upset, or esophageal upset, trying to stay compliant. But also, so the peppermint is in this one, but also there is ginger, so the ginger's in here as well, the caraway, coriander, anise, and tarragon, and fennel. So with that, it's going to cover any kind of discomfort, obviously stomach discomfort, but if you're having issues with getting back on track with bowel movements, things like that, this can definitely assist with that and soothe that. So again, you can take this topically, internally, and you can do it aromatically should you want to do that. So again, you can rub it on the lower abdomen using a carrier oil. You can rub it on the bottom of your feet. You can huff it straight from the bottle. You can take it in a shot real quick, just 1 or 2 drops, or you can do it you make your own veggie cap and take it that way. So the next one, sometimes after you've had the baby, or even sometimes during the pregnancy, a woman's emotions can go a little haywire. So whether that be pre or post or peri, that kind of thing, if you're dealing with lower emotions or abnormal emotional, if you're just kind of out of balance in that aspect, you can utilize something that's known as the invigorating blend, which the invigorating blend is known as citrus bliss. So this is a blend of oils. Or you can just use the wild orange, or honestly any citrus oil. So lemon, wild orange, you can utilize grapefruit, things of that nature. So what's in the wild citrus bliss, though? This one can only be used aromatically or topically. This one cannot be utilized internally. So this one has the wild orange in it, but you can also, but it also has lemon, grapefruit, mandarin, bergamot, tangerine, clementine, and then it has vanilla bean extract. So this one, again, you can huff. You can utilize it on your temple or pulse points, things of that nature. And this is invigorating. So this is very uplifting, very soothing as well. And it will do amazing things with balancing your emotions and just getting you out of any funk that you might be in due to whatever your situation is in general, but specifically with pregnancy, birth, or dealing with new little ones, things like that. This one is a great one to utilize during the last stage of your delivery. So after the second stage of when you're laboring and into the transition of when you're birthing, this one to have diffusing is amazing. So this will assist you a lot. And then another one that you could utilize is if you're feeling out of sorts again emotionally, and you're just feeling kind of run down and at your wit's end, things of that nature. So again, you can run over to that invigorating blend known as the citrus bliss. But again, any of the citrus oils, wild orange, grapefruit, you can even utilize peppermint. It's very uplifting. Things other than in terms of after you've had the baby, or even like maybe if you're on your 3rd trimester and you're having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, something that's very calming and soothing again is the lavender. Or you can utilize the new Restful blend. It's a newly reformulated. It used to be called the Calming blend, but it's now called the Restful blend. And it's known as Serenity. And that is a blend. And I'm not sure I grabbed that one, but either way, it's been newly reformulated. So they added whole wood, vetiver, and cedarwood to that, along with the lavender, things like that. And that one is great, again, to put on your pulse point. And you can diffuse it as well, and that will certainly assist in bringing you down from the crazy hectic day, or if you're feeling exhausted, things like that. It can help you bring bring you down and calm you and soothe you, and so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. And then, of course, during the process of your growing belly, something we can talk about would be those lines, since your skin is stretching, things like that. If you want to be preemptive about ensuring no blemishes, skin blemishes, things like that that stick around, you can again utilize, there is a blend that's called the anti-aging blend. If you want to use that, it's known as Immortelle. But you can also utilize single oils like the lavender, the frankincense. Again, put it in a carrier oil blend. You can add vitamin E oil to that and use that a couple times a day or throughout the day, and rub it on your tummy to ensure that you're preemptive of not having any kind of skin blemishes. As your belly grows, or even after babies come out, you can utilize that to assist the skin in going back to its normal structure and things like that. So those are just a few I wanted to talk to regarding, pregnancy as you're growing, things like that. And then delivery, we kind of touched on utilizing the invigorating blend, the Citrus Bliss. During that stage, have it diffusing. I wouldn't recommend utilizing anything topically on you while you're in the process of labor and delivery, just because we never know how we're going to be. And you might enjoy that aroma that might be on your wrist when you're using it, and then literally 5 seconds later, you despise it. It's not something you can just rub off, really. So that could create a lot of issues. So honestly, most times than not, I do recommend, as well as we both recommend, mostly just utilizing any oil aromatically, not necessarily putting anything topically on. Just because you never know emotionally how you're going to be and if you're going to enjoy that aroma from any given second during the process. So you can do perineum support, you can do transitional support, you can build effective contractions in case once your labor and everything has already started, meaning you can utilize something called clary sage. Now, clary sage is typically something that we use caution about for any mommies that are out there that are typically prone to early labor or even loss of labor, if you've had loss already of babies, things like that. Clary sage is what we usually utilize after contractions in the laboring process has already begun. So that you can utilize, if you want to, on the insides of your feet, so the inside of where your ankle is, and that can assist with effectively bringing about and controlling, or help to support, not control, but help support any kind of contractions and things like that. To build energy and keep you going, I would stick, okay, we'll get through this. So, but the next one, like I said, for energizing, the invigorating blend, the Citrus Bliss, is one to keep diffusing because it'll keep you going, but in an odd way, it's also very soothing and calming. So when you feel like you're at your wit's end, honestly, girls, or husbands, the guys, keep the invigorating blend, the Citrus Bliss, at hand because it'll really keep you going. And then you can do things for, like I said, the perineum support. So in preparation, before the laboring and delivering, during all 3 trimesters, you can assist your perineum for proper stretching and transitioning through all of that. So you can utilize something like the lavender, the frankincense. There is one that's called the helichrysum. Helichrysum is an amazing, it's liquid gold. That's my liquid gold. And it is something that you don't need to use a lot of or very often, but if you make that perineum support, where you can utilize that before you've had the baby and throughout your 3 trimesters, but also you can utilize that for supporting it to go back down to what the size it was before, or healing in case you've had tears or any kind of trauma during in that area during the delivery process. So the helichrysum, the frankincense, and the lavender are really good for those. Now, post-pregnancy, I would utilize other items that we talked about. A lot of them are kind of a lot of these oils that we've talked about, you can utilize throughout all of the stages. Pre-pregnancy, during your pregnancy, during labor and delivery, and post-pregnancy. So, as well as on the baby. So, something that we like to talk about to keep your health and immune system protected, and you could use something that's called the protective blend, which is known to a lot as On Guard, and it's known as our protective blend. This is, again, a blend of multiple oils. So the items that are in here are wild orange, cloves, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. And that, again, I utilize it on the bottom of the feet and along the spine. You can dilute it. That's one that we highly suggest you do dilute. And you can utilize that throughout your entire pregnancy to keep your immune system in check, to give your body the support it needs to help ward off any aches, as well as when the baby comes out. Now, you can use a drop or two on yourself, but when you're utilizing something on newborns or infants, I would highly recommend that you do heavy dilution. And so that means for, like, say, 1 drop of the On Guard, I would utilize 3 or 4 tablespoons of a carrier oil. So, because again, these are very potent items. So I would maybe have that in a roller ball separate, things like that you can utilize, and you can just swipe the bottom of their little feet as often as you feel that you need it. I really wouldn't do it more than twice a day, to be honest, because especially those moms that might be breastfeeding, they're getting a lot of immune support from that. But if you're not able to breastfeed, then definitely I do highly, highly suggest that you utilize this protective blend due to those immune system support systems that you get from the breast milk. If you're not able to do that, then the protective blend will certainly boost that section of the babies being protected in that area of the ick and things like that. But again, and then things like we were touched on breast soreness and any kind of, if you've had a cesarean, things like that, if you want to have any, make sure that you address any type of skin blemishes, utilize again lavender, peppermint, helichrysum, things of that nature, or again the anti-aging blend known as the Immortelle. And pretty much once you have baby, you can utilize items like frankincense, lavender, myrrh. You can do things, we've already talked about the protective blend. We've already talked about the digestive blend. You can utilize things like the lavender for calming, soothing, whether it be to assist with sleep or to assist with teething, to assist with even colic. Things like fennel even assist with areas of colic and things like that. Cradle cap, we can typically utilize things like geranium lemon, fever, diaper rash, diarrhea. There's so many different options, but I don't want to overload anybody with all of this. So I do highly suggest, again, that you get these 2 books, and then feel free to contact me should you have any, if you want more further in-depth things that you want to go over or talk about. But other than that, I wanted to just kind of touch on certain options for you guys. And I do hope that a lot of this kind of brought great information to you and great resources, at least, to you as well. The other 2 books, before I get out of here, is known as the Modern Essentials book. There is an 8th. This is the 7th edition. The 8th edition just came out. And the Essential Life book, this one, and this one, and this one, you can find on aromatools.com. And this one, the Essential Life, you can get from oillife.com. That's oillife.com. So of those resources, you will have a plethora of not just pregnancy, birth, and babies. These 2 books actually touch a lot on all other aspects of your life. I mean, literally every aspect, whether it be cleaning, cooking, baking, home care items, body care items, men's care items, babies care items, young children, adults, elderly. The list goes on and on and on. So I do hope everybody got some good information from this today. And if anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to contact me. I'm going to put my information below. And I hope everybody has a great day.